Hey, it's Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and today's video is going to be slightly different. Um, I did a, I've already recorded it and finished it this morning. I was already done with my trading, and then I saw a nice trade set up right here, and so I thought it was a good time to demonstrate a trade today. This has been a nice rally, so it's pretty easy to make some money this morning. So this was just kind of like a little bonus gravy trade here, but I thought I would record it. But it triggered so quickly that I didn't have time to really set the trade up. And after I watched the video when I was finished, I really didn't set it up well. So I thought I would come back and put this at the beginning. So I want to set this trade up. Notice we got a channel working up, a two-tiered channel, and we get a correction off the top here. And we hadn't been back to the trend line since way down here at the opening this morning, just before the open, or right at the open. And so we hadn't been back to that trend line. So um, you got a first entry here, but you're not quite back to the trend line, so you want to be real careful about entering. And then you got a second entry here, but it actually went lower first and then turned and went back out the upside. Um, so I didn't like necessarily entering right there. Uh, Notice that there's a little trend working down and you get a break and a new low. So it is a second enter. So it's really tempting to enter here. So I had to kind of bite my tongue not to enter there. But what I would have waited on, if this one would have broke higher, I probably would have dropped a limit order right there. But it didn't. It just kind of went sideways and it ends up with a little range. You draw your high and your low. And then we had a failed break lower right here. But I missed this one. I couldn't get everything turned on and set up in time. And so I decided I'd wait and see if we'd come back and get a second entry, which we really didn't get a second entry on this one. It never broke lower. But notice what happened here. You've got a range going, and it broke higher, and then it pulls back. And so what I decided to do was treat this like a breakout pullback long and try to go ahead and get an entry where I could demonstrate a trade. Normally, the best entry would have still been right here, and when it pulled back, um, you see the next two bars, you could have gotten filled at the original spot, but I wanted to demonstrate a trade so bad that I chased this one just a little bit. I went ahead and decided that I would enter where the breakout was, one tick above that breakout area where it would have triggered right here for the original um, second entry, what I was looking for and trying to get in. So I ended up getting in right here at this spot. Because I'd already missed this one and we were trending higher here. So I just went ahead and dropped my limit order in thinking we'd probably go on higher. I could have been a little more conservative. I probably could have gotten in all the way back here. But sometimes you'll miss really good trades by doing that. And you see, and the odds are really strong that this is a nice trend coming up here. So we're going to test this high. Once we start moving higher, you may get some fake outs like we did here, but you're going to end up testing that high and probably going to make a new high, and you may even test this high. We hadn't quite tested that one. We did feel the gap. You can see the gap right across there. We had to go to that level right there, and look, we filled it to the tick plus a tick. So worked out. So we went exactly where you figured we would go. And we may still push higher here. We're not done yet. There's a trend working up through here. I don't have my trend line on here. But you can see that trend working up through there. And that trend's still valid. So we could continue to work higher. We may even go test the 2100 area again today. We'll just have to see. But anyway, let's go back to my trade here. So I dropped my limit order here when it went higher, and it pulled back. It filled me. And then we went on, we filled the scalp real quickly, and I had my stop at break even. But what I did when we went higher here and started turning back down, I went ahead and moved my stop to one tick below this little swing because I knew if we broke below there, we're probably coming back to test the breakout area again. And look, that's exactly where we came to the tick. It gave you another chance to enter here, and I started to go ahead and demonstrate another trade, but I just didn't really want to hang around here today. I've already hit my target earlier this morning, and I got some bonus by demonstrating a trade, so I really just didn't want to go through another trade here. So I didn't take that one. Now looking back at it, I wish I'd went ahead and taken that one too, because that's a nice setup. But notice what it is. You got a new low here. So, well, actually, it's not a failed second entry short. There's two legs up, so it is a failed second entry short when it broke lower there. Um, so you could have treated it like that still. But what it is just another pullback to test this area right here, because it really didn't hold until this bar. And so a lot of times you'll come back and test it again and get a good, and you can see we got a good solid footing on it there. We're still within this trend line working up, no close outside it. So that was a good place to try to at least run to a new high. That would have been a quick, easy move. And it looks like your runners would have even been safe. You could still have some runners going on this one. So I'd probably exit them once we made a new high there, because we may turn down now. But anyway, back to this trade. You see the short-term correction. We got the break, and there's actually two legs down to a new low. Again, that would have been the ideal spot to enter. Um, but by the time I made up my mind I was going to demonstrate a trade, it was too late. I still could have gotten the limit order in there, but by the time I decided I wanted to do this, I didn't want to be too conservative and miss out on a chance to demonstrate a trade, because I really felt confident we're going to make a new high here. On a trend move that hard, or that strong, I should say, you're going to retest that high. You know, you may not make a new high, but you're going to retest it, and you're probably going to make a new high, which we've done here. So that's what set that trade up. Hopefully you understand. I missed it right here. So I let it break higher and pull back, and I dropped a limit order where it would have originally filled over here when it broke above that bar right there for that. Really your second entry triggered here, but this wasn't a very good setup. This was the first chance you really got a decent setup, and that's the upper high of the range, and you may not tick through it. Notice we didn't tick through it on that bar or that bar, so you probably wouldn't have got filled on anything but this bar right here. And so I played it right on the optional entry, but the best entry would have been here, and you'd still have a runner going. So it's unfortunate I missed it. A lot of times you will catch a major low with these kind of failed breaks lower or a failed break higher. And people, I talk about these a lot. You got to know what you're doing, but if you catch one of these, they're generally very key entry spots and great places to enter. So, but that sets the trade up for you. You understand why I liked it. You got a break, two legs down to a new low, and it's also a breakout pullback, and then you got another chance to enter here, second entry long on another breakout, another pullback to test that breakout area. So a couple of good trades in a row there, but I did want to just kind of set up that original entry, and so now you understand why I liked entering here and why I even liked it pulling back here. Generally, your stop needs to go below the swing low on a long, and that's going to be right here. Even though you could have put it one tick below these matching lows, the safer place is right here, because it could have easily ticked back and tested that, but it couldn't get. I mean, if you'd put it there, you would have survived, but you're being a little more conservative, and when you're too conservative, a lot of times you'll get stopped out on a good trade. So the safe place is always below, and you still could have gotten in that within the 8-tick rule as well. So it worked out really nice. But yeah, so I just wanted to set that trade up a little better, because I didn't really have a time to do it before I demonstrated it, and after looking at the video, I didn't feel like I described why I like that entry well enough. So I get a lot of requests for trades. I won't do a lot of these because generally I'm trading myself. It just happened to be a good morning to do one. I was done early, and I wanted to demonstrate that. So hope you enjoy the trade. It'll lead in right after this. So I'm going to wrap it up here, and enjoy the trade. Hey, it's Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and I'm trying to demonstrate a trade here this morning. People have been asking me to demonstrate one, so I thought I would try. I went in with 20 contracts what I did, I really should have entered here is where I would have liked to have entered, but I couldn't get my order in time, and I was afraid it was going to run off and leave me. So I chased this one a little bit, which you generally don't want to do. But what I did, notice we got a little sideways channel here. You see the little lines. When it broke above and pulled back, I dropped a limit order in there and got filled on it when it pulled back on this bar. You see it pulled back just enough to fill me, and that was back where the original second entry would have filled. I got my stop one tick below the low here. What I'm going to try to do is scalp out. I went in with 20 contracts. I'm going to try to scalp out with 4 of them, or I'm sorry, 15 of them. I'm going to save 5 for a runner. Now we've got a break of this channel working up, so we may not get but just a new high. So I don't want to be too aggressive with my runners here, but so I'm just going to start out with it just above the high where prices could turn down again, and we'll see what happens. Of course, we got to get filled on our scalp first, but prices are trying to push through. There's another little resistance here, and you notice I made sure I got in with enough room to scalp out before that high, because you don't want to get up here and go one tick or run into this double top and not be able to get out. So you got to be cognizant of that as well. So we're really struggling to push much higher, but I think we're going to probably push on up here. We go. They're making another run at it. See if we can get through this time. And we're looking for prices to make a new high here. Notice this channel working up. This is the break, and we're looking for prices to make a new high here. And the ideal spot to enter would have been right here above this bar. You'd already be out with your scalp. But I missed that one, unfortunately. I couldn't get it ready. All right, you see what happened there. We got filled on our scalp. My safety stop is moved to break even. I could adjust that if I wanted to, give it a little more room. I could do it break even +1. There's a lot of different ways you can do it. I wouldn't be surprised to see prices pull back and test this. We broke through and pulled back and tested it right here. That's the reason I decided to enter there. But we'll just let this one go. We'll leave it at break even and let it go and see what happens. I'm tempted to really exit this one just before that high, but we could run on up and test this next high. So let's just see what happens here. We'll let it go for a minute. But didn't take long to fill the scalp. Less than 3 minutes. And so let's see if we can get the runner filled without it backing up too much on us. But we got 60 ticks in the bank. So we got $750 in the bank now, less commission. That's just what each tick's worth. So we got 60 ticks. So we got $750 in the bank, less commissions, and we're going to try to get 3 points on 5 runners. Which would give us let me think about my math here while I'm watching, trying to concentrate on my trade here. But if we get 3 points on 5, that'll be 15 points. And at 4 ticks, that's another 60. So this trade would give us about $1,500 just on this one trade, if we can fill these runners without it backing up on us. See, now we're pulling back and testing this little breakout area. Just hope it doesn't come all the way back to test this one. Tell you what I'm going to do here. We may get stopped out, but I'm going to tighten this to 1 tick below and hope that it hangs on, because I don't want to we probably just increase the odds that we'll get stopped out. But if it breaks through there, it probably would come back here and hit our break even stop. And we got stopped out there. So I think we got 3 ticks on those last 5. So that was 15 ticks. So we put another, probably another $175 in there with the original 750. That's about a, by the time we took commissions, a little over $800 there. So anyway, but I haven't had a chance to demonstrate a trade in a while, and so that was just a great opportunity to do one. It wasn't an ideal perfect setup. I missed the perfect setup, but I thought I still liked it to the upside. So um, I thought it was worth trying to get in on the breakout pullback right here when we pulled back after we broke through. Notice once we broke through, it pulls back and then it goes higher, and so that's what I was basing that trade off of, and that's why I entered right there, because I figured it would pull back and fill it. So I actually could have gotten filled all the way back to where the original entry was down here, but I just, sometimes when you get too conservative, you'll miss a trade, and I didn't want to miss it. So um, that was the reason I entered where I did, but still turned out to be a great trade. About an $800 trade after commissions. Okay, I'm just adding this on at the end of the day. I hope you enjoyed that trade example I showed you, but I wanted to show you my chart at the end of the day so you could see what I saw. Notice that after the break and the move to a new high, we did get a reversal. We actually had a nice little channel working up on this one in a break, but we never made a new high, and we sold off here. And eventually we sold off really strongly. And there's a nice failed second entry long right here that would have put you into this trade. Notice the new high, pull back first entry, pull back second entry. That would have been a great place to get short, and then it gives you a little breakout pullback short here if you wanted to. I doubt I would have entered there. Here would be the place to enter on that trap, and if you entered there, you would have got runners. They would have been safe, and you could have ridden this as low as, until we got a break. If you would have exited right on the first bar that broke right there, closed outside, you would have been in great shape. So there were some nice trades here during the day. I just point out a couple of real quick things here. Notice that most of these moves up there through here are all first entries, and that's when you get a strong trend moving, you're not going to get a lot of second entries. You just don't. There's a nice second entry here. This is also it's basically a failed second entry short. You could have considered this one, but I wouldn't go long there because it's right into that high. Right here is a great pull back to the trend line. This confirms the trend line. Bounces off the EMA. It's a retest of the breakout area. It's a second entry. Look at the pullback first entry, pullback second entry. And then you get another first entry right here. And then you're running up, you get another first entry right here. You actually get a little trap. That probably would have made it worthwhile with this thing going the way it is to go long right into those highs. I definitely would be a green circle. But then you got another one right here that would have worked, although I don't think I would have gone long there for sure. But you finally get a break, and we tried to go to a new high, and we never could make one. So I don't know if that confirms that trend line right there. So there's no reason you couldn't go short off that bearish bar if you wanted. I don't know that I would have entered there. Possibly. There's a nice second entry short right there. Notice the pull back first entry, pull back second entry. That's a bearish reversal type bar. And then you get your failed second entry long right there. So probably go short right there. And that would have got you into that trade. And you could have just ridden it all the way too. So pretty good trading day. Not a lot of, again, on days, even on a good trend day, we didn't get a lot of second entries. But when you see, I've talked about this a lot. We haven't seen one lately, but when you see a lot of little small bars that are real tight that just keep working higher and higher and higher, it does not look like it, but that is a very strong trend. And just about anything that comes back to the key entry point on those, it gives you a signal, a good signal bar. I'd take it, even if it's not a second entry. So we already talked about the trade I demonstrated, so you know what happened there. There was a second entry here. It was a great trade. And look where all, and I confirmed this trend line. I didn't have that on there during the trade. I was concentrating more on the trade. But you know, if you draw your trend lines like you're supposed to, you'd probably have that on there. And there's another chance to enter. Even though we got stopped out, you could have jumped right back in. And you could have given this some room if you really wanted to. I prefer to exit with what I got and look for another entry. And then you would have gotten one here. And of course, this one catches a runner. It never fails the ones I try to demonstrate. Um, Usually don't. Actually, if I would have caught the trade where I wanted to, right above here, then I would have been able to demonstrate. Now, actually, it would have probably come back and got the runner right there. I'm not sure if we'd have been out yet, but I think we would have gotten, it would have got the runner there too. So we actually wouldn't have got as much off the runners as we got on this second entry. But this one right here, of course, runners would have been safe on it, and you ride it all the way up. But notice where all the big moves start from. The big move right here up, where does it start? Right off the trend line, the key entry point. Um, you get some more big pushes up off of this EMA. The big move down here comes right off that trend channel line, although I wouldn't be taking any shorts in this move right here, nor this move. And again, where do the big moves take off from? And on these little choppy small days where it just goes up higher, and same thing working down, that's a very strong trend coming back down. Um, the moves aren't as long as usual because it's not very far to the other side of the channel, but it just keeps going higher and higher and higher. And but anyway, I just wanted to throw this in on at the end so you got a chance to just see what my chart looked like for the day. But I'm not going to spend any more time on it. I hope you enjoyed the trade example, and I'm going to wrap it up for the day. We'll be back to do it on Monday. No chart lesson tomorrow, and but I'm out here for today. Hope you have a great weekend. Hope you have a good trading day tomorrow. This is Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.